myself, Dr. Parth Goswami. I am the consultant pathologist, and today we will discuss some important MCQs that can be asked in the competitive exam. So, I have prepared 15 MCQs, and we will discuss each MCQ one by one. I have already taken the MCQ exam on the Google Form community section, right? So, now we are going to discuss that MCQs. And these MCQs will be of the case and image based question mainly. So let's begin with the first MCQ. A 28-year female patient giving the breastfeeding to her 3-month-old baby. So the woman is breastfeeding, right? And her breast is enlarged. Milk is expressed from the both breast with a gentle pressure. So which underlying physiological or pathological process enables her to give the breastfeed to her children? So friends, here the answer is obvious. You know, in the pregnancy, progesterone and prolactin is increased. So because of that hormonal effect, there will be increased number of cells in the breast, right? There will be hyperplasia in the lobules, right? There will be adenosis. So excessive milk production is because of breast lobular hyperplasia. In the pregnancy and after pregnancy, the breast hyperplasia is a common example of hyperplasia, right? So the right answer would be of breast lobular hyperplasia. This is the example of hyperplasia. Now MCQ number 2. 36-year-old obese female having the complaint of acid reflux, right? And she is feeling of acidity after taking the lunch or dinner since 4 years. So it's of long duration, right? Acidity since long duration. She consulted the gastroenterologist and the endoscopy was done with a subsequent biopsy of the lower end of esophagus and the histopathological image of biopsy attached herewith. So what is your diagnosis for her? So friends, whenever such history is given, first of all, you have to think about the gastroesophageal reflux disease induced metaplasia, right? Now here what happened because of long-standing acidity, right? Long-standing gastroesophageal reflux disease. What will happen? The excessive acid will irritate the lower end of esophageal mucosa. And we know that lower end of esophagus mucosa is lined by squamous epithelium, right? Because of chronic irritation, because of constant acid exposure, this squamous epithelium will be gradually replaced by intestinal type of columnar epithelium, right? Why I said intestinal type? Because here it is replaced by goblet cells, right? If you observe carefully, then in the columnar cell you can observe a goblet cell. So here the goblet cell is present. So the squamous epithelium, whenever replaced by columnar intestinal type of columnar epithelium, it is known by the name columnar metaplasia. So gastroesophageal reflux disease induced replacement of squamous epithelium by columnar epithelium is a well-known example of columnar metaplasia. And in the attached image also you can see a columnar metaplasia. Here you can see that gradually squamous epithelium is replaced by columnar epithelium, right? Right, you can see that squamous epithelium is gradually getting replaced by columnar epithelium. So the right answer would be of columnar metaplasia. To be more precise, it's an intestinal type of columnar metaplasia. Now third MCQ. A 42-year-old man diagnosed with nephrotic syndrome by urologist. Underlying cause for nephrotic syndrome not clear after extensive investigation. So urologists want to take renal biopsy for the electron microscopy investigation. Now after taking biopsy, in which fixative ideally urologists should send the sample to the patholab for the electron microscopy of their renal specimen. So here the question is straightforward. The examiner wants to know that for doing the renal biopsy electron microscopy examination, which fixative is used. So for the electron microscopy, right, for the electron microscopy of the any tissue, the best fixative would be of 4% glutaraldehyde. The formalin is used for routine processing of the biopsy, not for electron microscopy. So here the right answer would be of glutaraldehyde, 4% glutaraldehyde, right? All right. Now MCQ number 4. A 34-year-old lady suffered from postpartum hemorrhage, and on taking the history, it is revealed that she was having pregnancy-induced hypertension. After delivery, placenta sent for histopathological examination. Identify the type of necrosis in the given placental biopsy. All right. So here the main important history is of hypertension, right? The patient is having pregnancy-induced hypertension, and only necrosis that is associated with malignant hypertension is fibrinoid type of necrosis, right? See, whenever the person is having hypertension or whenever the patient is having immune complex deposition in the blood vessel, right, the fibrin is getting deposited in the blood vessel, right? So it is because of immune complex deposition and it is because of hypertension. So because of hypertension, sometimes coagulation system can be activated. They will form the excessive fibrin, and this fibrin will get deposited in the blood vessel or in the placenta in the interstitial space. So in the placenta also it can get deposited, and it looks like an fibrin. If you observe carefully, then this all pink color, this pink color is a fibrin like appearance of fibrinoid necrosis. So this pink color is fibrinoid type of necrosis. So this is the example of fibrinoid variety of necrosis. Obviously it is not coagulative, because in the coagulative necrosis appearance is granular. In the caseous necrosis appearance is cheesy and epithelioid cell giant cell is seen. So it is not caseous as well. And in the fatty necrosis, obviously some fat deposition and calcification like that of is present. So this is the example of fibrinoid necrosis. Here, fibrinoid necrosis can be present in blood vessel as well. All right. Now, MCQ number 5. The 6-year-old child presented with a repeated infection in the thigh, soft tissue. His CBC revealed neutrophilia, but biopsy revealed only few neutrophil in the tissue. Detailed analysis was made and it revealed that defect in the rolling of neutrophil. So, which molecule deficiency responsible for such repeated infection of soft tissue? So, first of all, understand the question. Here, there is a problem in the rolling, right? The neutrophil rolling is defective. So because of defect in the rolling, the neutrophil cannot adhere to the endothelium, right? That's why there is a few neutrophil in the tissue. See, whenever in our body there is an injury, whenever there is an infection or any type of injury, a neutrophil will reach to the site of injury with the process of chemotaxis, right? But before its journey to the injured site, neutrophil first of all has to attach to the endothelium, right? First step that is necessary for doing the journey to the injured site is attachment to the endothelial cell. And after attachment, they will roll from one endothelium to second endothelium, right? They will roll over the endothelial mucosa of blood vessel. And this rolling is mediated by selectin. Particularly, it is mediated by P and E selectin. If you want to study it in detail, then see my video on the inflammation. I have discussed the rolling, margination, pavimenting all in the detail, right? So whenever there is a defective rolling, whenever there is a defect in the selectin molecule, the rolling will be defective. So here the right answer would be the selectin. Here the integrin is not right answer, because integrin is not at all responsible for the rolling. It is responsible for firm adhesion of neutrophil to the endothelium. So the rolling is by selectin. So the right answer would be selectin. So selectin is the right answer. Now MCQ number 6. Which all are the type of tissue macrophage except, so here you have to identify which is not a tissue macrophage. So friends, in the blood, the monocyte cell is present, which is responsible for doing the phagocytosis. But whenever they reach into the tissue, when the monocyte reach into the tissue, it is known by the name macrophage, right? And according to the organ, the macrophage are given the different name. For example, if macrophage is present in liver, it is known by the name Kupffer cell. In the bone, it is known by the name osteoclast. In the spleen, it is known by the name littoral cell. And in the placenta, it is known by the name Hofbauer cell. So all these are example of macrophage except osteoblast, which is not a macrophage. So the right answer would be osteoblast. All right. Now 27 MCQ. 27-year-old male got road accident and he was having severe pain at the inflammation at the accident site. Which of the following strongly responsible for his severe pain? So obviously here the patient has got the road accident, and because of injury, there is an inflammation of at the accident site. And we know the signs of inflammation: Ruber, Keller, Dollar, tumor, right? So the pain means dollar. So patient is having pain. Obviously, it could be because of histamine, serotonin, all the cytokines. But Here I have asked which is strongly responsible for the pain. So the strongly responsible factor for inducing the pain is a bradykinin. It is well known for causing excessive pain. So the right answer would be bradykinin. All right. Now 8th MCQ. 26-year-old male patient having a neck abscess. Cytopathological study was done after taking the FNAC. It revealed a granulomatous inflammation. Which type of hypersensitivity responsible for such inflammation? So obviously here the examiner want to ask that granulomatous inflammation is seen in which type of hypersensitivity. And the universal example of granulomatous inflammation is type 4 hypersensitivity. Type 4 hypersensitivity classically so granulomatous inflammation. The most common example is tuberculosis, in which granuloma is seen. This granuloma is consisting of caseous necrosis, epithelioid cell, giant cell, fibroblast, and lymphocyte, right? If you want to study it in detail, then I have already made the video on the type 4 hypersensitivity. You can check the playlist and see that video for better understanding. All right. So the right answer is type 4 hypersensitivity. Now, receptor for IgE antibody present on which of the following inflammatory cell? This is MCQ number 9. So here examiner want to ask that on which cell the receptor for IgE antibody is present. So first of all, for that you need to understand that whenever there is an allergen exposure, here examiner want to ask a question from type 1 hypersensitivity, right? So whenever there is an allergen exposure, antigen presenting cell, the present this antigen to the T helper 2 lymphocyte, it will secrete interleukin 4, 5, and 13, right? So this interleukin will stimulate a B lymphocyte to get converted into plasma cell, and they will produce is an antibody, particularly of the IgE variety of antibody. And this antibody will bind on the mast cell or basophil cell, which are the allergic cell, right? They will bind on the mast cell or basophil cell with a corresponding receptor for the IgE antibody. So the corresponding receptor for binding of IgE antibody is present on basophil or mast cell, right? This is the type 1 hypersensitivity. This process is known by the name sensitization. And on the re-exposure of allergen, the mast cell or basophil will degranulate and they will release their content to produce the symptom. So the right answer would be of basophil or mast cell, right? Now MCQ number 10. 32-year male patient found positive for IgM typhoid antibody and blood culture also positive for typhoid bacilli. Which type of inflammation present in the body? All right. So here the patient is positive for the typhoid infection, right? And the typhoid is a acute inflammation. It's an example of acute inflammation. However, although it is acute inflammation, neutrophil could be less. Neutropenia is observed in the typhoid, right? And lymphocyte can be elevated. So the typhoid is an example of acute inflammation. Now MCQ number 11. A 26-year man, Mr. XYZ, visit into closed room where many people were present who were coughing and sneezing without mask. So obviously respiratory route, infection spread by the respiratory route can occur. Influenza like virus can spread when patient is coughing or sneezing. Mr. XYZ inhaled that influenza particle and they were attached to the respiratory cell, and viral infection reduces the MHC class 1 displayed on this epithelial cell. Which immune cell most likely to rapidly destroy this viral infected cell? So here, the options are T lymphocyte, neutrophil, macrophage, and the natural killer cell. So see here the person XYZ exposed to influenza virus, you know and they infected the respiratory epithelial cell. So whenever there is a viral infection of epithelial cell, the MHC class 1 molecule is getting reduced. The expression of MHC class 1 on the epithelial cell is reduced. MHC class 1 molecule is present over the all nucleated cell. They are present over the epithelial cell. Whenever viral infection is present, the MHC class 1 expression will be reduced. Normally, in normal circumstances, whenever there is a no infection, the MHC class 1 is highly expressed. So they will inhibit the activity of natural killer cell. They will activate the inhibitory signal for natural killer cell. But whenever there is a viral infection, MHC class 1 molecule is reduced, its expression is decreased, and so because of which natural killer cell can get activated and they will directly kill this virus infected cell. So it's a protective mechanism, right? So here the natural killer cell is responsible for rapid destruction of this viral infected cell. That is in fact the mechanism of action of NK cell as well. I have already made the video on NK cell as well. I have made all the videos for the hypersensitivity reactions, for the natural killer cell. I have covered almost all the topics of immunology, so you can check the playlist and see that video. So the answer would be natural killer cell. All right. 12th MCQ. A scientist named XYZ examining the lung TB granuloma in the detail, and he observed that few cells within the granuloma were expressing the MHC class 2 molecule. This type of cell most likely to be derived from which of the following peripheral blood leukocyte? These are your four options. So obviously here the patient is having granulomatous inflammation. Granuloma is an example of type 4 hypersensitivity. Now first of all understand on which molecule MHC, on which cell MHC class 2 molecule are present. So MHC class 2 molecule are classically present over the antigen presenting cell. So whenever there is an infection or any, whenever there is any infectious agent exposure, any foreign material, that will be presented to the T lymphocyte by the antigen presenting cell, right? Whenever there is an antigen, bacteria, virus, anything, they will be presented by antigen presenting cell to the T lymphocyte. So antigen presenting cell help in the presentation of antigen to the T lymphocyte. And over this antigen presenting cell, MHC class 2 molecule are present. The examples of antigen presenting cells are macrophage, dendritic cells, Langerhans cells, etc. B lymphocyte. So here the answer would be of monocyte, macrophage. They express the antigen presenting cell. And here the answer is not B lymphocyte, because B lymphocyte also antigen presenting cell, but the answer is monocyte, because in the granulomatous inflammation main component is macrophage. Here we are talking about the granulomatous inflammation, right? So over the cells in the few cells within the granuloma were expressing MHC class 2. So here the right answer would be macrophage, monocyte also known by the name macrophage in the tissue, right? Now MCQ number 13. How does allergen induce type 1 hypersensitivity reaction in the Mr. XYZ? Following that, few cytokines secreted and stimulate B cell for the production of IgE antibody. We have already discussed that mechanism, right? So mast cell proliferated and subsequently hypersensitivity occurred. So which of the following cell could be the source of this secreted cytokine? Understand here what examiner want to ask. He want to ask the mechanism of type 1 hypersensitivity. We have already discussed that mechanism, right? Whenever there is an allergen exposure by the antigen presenting cell, they will present it to the T lymphocyte. They will secrete the cytokine, and so there will be activation of B lymphocyte for the to produce IgE antibody that will coat the mast cell or basophil. So here the source of cytokine production is obviously T lymphocyte. So your right answer would be CD4 T lymphocyte, right? The T lymphocyte could be of two types, T helper cell and cytotoxic T cell. So the right answer would be T helper cell, which is also known by the name CD4 T lymphocyte. So the right answer is CD4 T lymphocyte. Identify the lesion in the given histopathological image. You have to identify this image. So obviously it's a concentric bluish calcification, which is known by the name Samoma body, right? It can be seen in meningioma, serous cystadenocarcinoma of ovary, like that of lesion. So the answer would be Samoma body. 15th MCQ. Identify the type of lesion in the brain. Identify this lesion. See, this is the destruction in the brain. You can see a destruction in the brain tissue. It's a necrosis, right? And such type of necrosis is because of release of hydrolytic enzyme from the lysozyme, right? So they will lead to liquefactive type of necrosis. Here you can see a liquefaction. So this liquefaction is because of release of hydrolytic enzymes. So this is the example of classical example of liquefactive necrosis. It can also be seen in the pus collection abscess. That is also an example of liquefactive necrosis. In this condition, neutrophils will release the hydrolytic enzymes, and they can lead to liquefaction. All right. So right answer is liquefactive necrosis. Thank you very much, guys. And this is all about the discussion of this MCQ bank number 4, right? We will be right back with a new video. Till then, take care and bye bye. See you soon in the next video.